the past 12 months, we've lost $4,872,000 from potential new clients who said, Yuri, I'm in. I just need a moment to think about things. And in this video, I want to share with you 7 warning signs that will help you understand when prospects are lying to you, so that you don't waste your time and energy with the wrong people. All right, guys, what's going on? Yuri Kim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals build scalable coaching businesses that transform more lives. And if you are speaking to prospective clients on the phone, on Zoom, about potentially working with you, then I have no doubt you've had more than your fair share of conversations with people that seemed interested, but ended up not enrolling with you. And so this is going to be particularly useful if you're offering a higher ticket coaching package, $2,000 to $6,000 or $7,000, somewhere in that range. And I'm going to share what you may have experienced, but maybe you're not aware of. So there's 7 warning signs that we've seen over the years. Now, we've done tens of thousands of calls and we've enrolled thousands of clients, and obviously many more people not than yes. And that's a function of fit, it's a function of qualification, but it's also a function of some people saying like, yes, this is what I'm looking for, but then actually not having the courage to move forward for whatever reason. So it's very frustrating, and I want to save you, or at least give you a bit of a tell. It's almost like playing poker with someone and understanding their tell, so you can be a little bit more savvy about how to bring some stuff to surface that you may not have otherwise been able to do. Okay, so the first warning sign that prospects are most likely lying to you, I'm going to start off with the application. So when people book a call to speak with you, they should be filling out an application, and there's certain questions you definitely want to have on there and sequenced in a right order. But here's the big thing. Number 1 is that they don't leave their last name on the application. Joe, no last name. Joe, capital B. Whatever it is, they don't leave their full last name. Think about it this way. Why would someone not leave their full last name? At some level, they don't trust you. At some level, they have issues in general where people might scope them out online and do a bit of research around them. They are dipping their toe in the water and they're not fully committed. That's warning sign number 1. They don't leave their last name on the application. Out of all of the things I'm about to share with you, this one is not even correlational, it's almost causal. We have never, and I'm talking about in 7 years now, never, not once, not even in a unicorn special situation, never has someone booked a call with us only leaving their first name and then ended up enrolling. Never. And I'm not a big fan of using absolutes like never and always, but this is the one situation that we have never seen to pan into anything. So first name only, no last name, no bueno. Second warning sign, again, on the application as well as in your conversations, is they give you very short or vague answers. And again, what does that tell you about someone? So why are we talking today? I need some help, right? On the application, why is this a must for you now? Because it is, right? Like very short answers where they're almost too lazy to even tell you anything. Versus applications that come through and like you have a well-structured sentence or a paragraph where someone is actually sharing a little bit more about their situation with you. What's the difference? It's day and night. Now, I'm not saying you should judge a book by its cover and cancel all applications that come through with short, vague answers, because some people are just a little bit less expressive than others. I would be one of them. However, it doesn't mean that people who leave short answers don't want help, but you just have to think about why would they give you very short answers in the first place. So for instance, we had a call come through recently, and the question on the application was, why is, solving this issue, or why are we, why is solving this issue a must for you now? And the person's response is, because I have a break at lunch. And as soon as I saw that, I canceled the app because I'm like, this person is a joke. Are you for real? Like, you have a break at lunch. Even if you do have a break at lunch, you're actually going to give us that as the reason why this is important for you now on the application itself? Ciao. So short answers, uncommitted answers are coming from flaky, uncommitted people. When you have people that leave you at least a well thought out sentence or paragraph of why this is important or whatever the questions you're asking, that tells you a lot more. Where there's more emotional charge, there is more pain. Where there is more pain, there is more willingness to change. So that's the second warning sign, is short, vague answers in the application, but also in your conversations with the prospect. Okay, so next we're going to turn to the actual conversation itself. And you're having a call. Let's say this is on Zoom. There's a lot of benefit to having Zoom conversations with people, building trust, seeing them on camera. So warning sign number 3 is the person won't even turn on the camera. And, one of the things that I often do in a lot of my coaching calls is I just set the tone right off the bat. I'm like, okay, guys, welcome. You make sure your lines are muted, your cameras are turned on, unless you're driving or naked. Actually, you know what? If you are naked, let's turn that camera on and I'll have a little chuckle. So now that's in the context of a coaching call. In the context of a one-on-one sales call, you want to just add a little brevity, like a little bit of levity to the situation, and don't call the person out of hey, why can't you turn your camera on? Hey, is it do you happen to be in the bathroom, or is there, sometimes I talk to people, you just want to kind of again, I can't think off the top of my head here, but just think of maybe a quick little one-liner that might get someone to have a little chuckle about why they don't want to turn their camera on. Don't make them feel bad. Just get them to laugh, and maybe they will feel safe enough to then turn their camera on and actually be a human. But that's a very big warning flag, is someone who doesn't turn their camera on. I remember having a consult with a really, really well-known YouTube expert. So this guy works with Mr. Beast and all the big guys. And so we pay for this consult and we show up on the call, and the whole time he doesn't have his camera on. I'm like, what? What are you doing? You're a YouTube expert. You can't turn your video on? What's going on there? And it immediately broke trust. Within 2-3 minutes of the call, I'm like, I would never work with this guy. And then he was a bit of a prick for most of the conversation and just, pointing out how all of our shit was terrible. I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. Anyways, we'll never speak again. But nonetheless, if the person doesn't turn their camera on, it's a bit of an issue. Number 4 is they take the call while they're distracted. So even if you let people know ahead of time, make sure you're in front of your computer, you have all the distractions put away, you've got the kids in a cage or with a babysitter or whatever you're doing. If they're showing up on your calls while they're walking, while they're on their phone, moving around, while they're driving, while they're anything other than in front of a computer, big warning flag. Why? Let me ask you this. If someone is not focused on you in this call, and more importantly, them on their, wanting to improve things, what does that tell you about the importance of this particular situation? Not that important, right? If they're doing other things, those other things are more important than the conversation they have with you. Now, does that mean that, do I have conversations with people while I'm out for a walk? 100% I do, but not the first one. It's a sign of respect to actually show up and be visible with that person, be focused. They're taking their time, you're taking your time. You want to mutually show up and be like, yes, I'm committed to this is important, and we start there. So if someone is distracted on that initial call, they're going through McDonald's, driving drive-through. Listen, we've seen stories like this, right? It's crazy. Again, they're just not that committed. And if you want committed clients, here's what we do. All the stuff that I'm sharing with you here, I'm going to share with you how to address this, how to bring it up in the conversation without calling it out specifically. Because all of these 7 warning signs are indicators of flaky, low commitment people. And you will never get people to make a decision to say yes or commit to doing anything when these are in place. Okay? So the 4th is they take the call while they are distracted. 5th warning sign, that prospects are lying to you. When I say lying to you, I mean they it looks like everything is good, but it really isn't. Is they use the word definitely several times throughout the conversation. And I'll give you an example from something that hits close to home. So one of my best friends from high school, I don't really see him that much anymore because he lives in New York, but we'll occasionally be on text conversations with some mutual friends. And from the time I've known him, from way back, he was always like, definitely, we should do it. I miss you guys so much. I'm like, no, you don't. Because if you did, you would actually take the next step to making it happen. Let's set a date. I'm going to come to here. Let's meet up here. But it's always, I definitely want to do this. I definitely want to see you guys. And if you hear this from your prospects, it's the same idea. Why is the word definitely such a warning sign? The reason it's a warning sign is that it's a people-pleasing form of language. So you will speak with a lot of people who don't want to hurt your feelings. They think you're a nice person. They're like, man, if I really tell this person the truth, they might get pissed off. So a lot of people don't want to poke the bear. I'm not saying that you're a bear, but they would rather not stir anything up. So they use language And the other way this kind of shows up in your calls is someone who's a lot of positives. Like, yes, this makes a lot of sense. This is, yep, totally. You're getting a lot of false positives, a lot of false yeses. And it's really, really important to pay attention to not what people say, but what they actually mean. And I'll give you an example from a tonality perspective in a second. But when someone is saying definitely several times, and I'm telling you, I review sales calls all the time. I see this stuff happen day in and day out. People use definitely very seldomly actually definitely move forward. And so again, people-pleasing tendencies in enrollment conversations on the prospect's perspective, or even on your perspective, don't go anywhere. And the reason for that is because they are 100% bullshit covering up the truth. What you want to do in an enrollment, like in a coaching conversation, in a dialogue with any other human, is speak and share the truth. The purpose of all of these conversations is to have an honest conversation. Is this a hell yes, or is it a no? It's a no, amazing. Is this a hell yes? Yes, but I'm scared. Cool, let's talk about that. So another thing to look out for with when I talk about what people actually mean as opposed to what they say is listen to their tonality. You can ask something like, well, does this seem like it could be the solution you're looking for? And they might say, yeah. You don't just move on from that. That answer right there means no. It means no. You're either getting hell yeses or you're getting no's. And the hell yes is, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And it's not even in the words they say, it's how they say it. So when someone is like, yeah, definitely, or they have an upward inflection in their tonality, yeah, that's a no. It's people-pleasing bullshit. Now, it's not bullshit. It's just the tendency, we don't want to upset people. We don't want to ruffle feathers, but look out for this stuff. So if you notice someone is giving you a lot of false positives or like these upward inflections, which means that they're not really interested, but they're saying because they want to be nice, all you answer is, are you sure? Really? I'm sensing a little bit of hesitation. And let them talk. Yeah, well, and then let them explain. So please do not move on to the next part of your conversation without addressing the elephant in the room. That's the big theme I want you to get from this video, is everything I'm sharing with you here, don't just move on from it. So I'm going to come back and tile this with a nice bow in a moment, but there's two more things I want to get to. The two final warning signs. One, or number 6 here, is they lack clarity. Where do you want to be 6 to 12 months from now? Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. Done. Conversation's over. How is someone supposed to make a decision about their future if they don't even know what they want their future to look like? How are they supposed to commit to improving their health if they don't even know what they want their health to look like, or they're not associated to how shitty it is to begin with? A lack of clarity is a very, very big warning sign. It's one of the biggest things that we've noticed for us, right? So someone who doesn't know their numbers, like how much revenue do you make on a monthly basis? They're like, well, I'm not sure actually. What? You run a business and you don't know to the penny how much money you make? You don't know what your profit is? Like, we don't even ask profitability questions, but you don't know where you are? Or where would you like to be in 6 to 12 months? Well, I haven't thought about it really. What the fuck are you talking about? You haven't thought about it. What are you doing? Right? So you have these very airy, fairy, flaky type of answers. These are not people that are going to make a decision to work with you. They're not. They're going to tell you stuff like, oh, God, this all sounds great. I just need some time to think about it. And then they're going to send you an email that evening or the next day saying, hey, thank you so much for your time, but I decided to go insert whatever the story is. Okay? Finally, number 7 is they ask to reschedule. So they're asking to reschedule well in advance of the call, or they're asking to reschedule same day of the call. So let's attack these two situations. But first, what does someone asking to reschedule a call with you really mean? It means they don't prioritize your call with them over whatever else is getting in the way. Think about it. So if today is Monday and I have a call booked with you on Thursday, and I, on Monday or Tuesday, send you a text or email saying, hey, can we reschedule? Something's come up on Thursday, or maybe it was already there. Why would I not reschedule that other thing? Because in my mind, I'm thinking that other thing is more important than this call. So whether it's a reschedule that's respectful in terms of several days in advance of the actual call, or It's same day, it's the same issue. Something came up. Well, that other something is more important than this call. And what that means to me, Mr. Prospect, is you actually don't give a shit about improving your situation. Cool? So if someone wants to reschedule with you, here's what you do. Again, if it's a legitimate reason, like if they give you an 5-minute notice before the call, so like can't make it, like they're dead. Don't even respond to them. They're over. But if they give you somewhat of like, hey, I was just in a car accident or whatever the thing is, okay? You ask them like, hey, not a problem at all. Thank you for letting me know. When is a better time for us to reconnect, tomorrow or the next day at this time or this time? So you give them A or B option, okay? And they're going to say, oh, I can't make it this week. Let me get back to you. Or what about next week or whatever? Now, what's happened is they are taking back control or power of the relationship by saying, well, just let me reschedule when I have a moment, which means never, okay? So if anyone you are speaking to and you're looking to reschedule with, if they don't play by your rules, they're not playing at all. So you give them another 2 times over the next day or 2. And if they say, well, I can't make those times, like, do you have anything else next week or the week after? Here's what you respond. My next week is absolutely slammed. But why don't we push this out a couple months? Why don't we push this out a couple of months? Why would I say that? Because they're going to say, okay, sounds good, in which case they weren't going to do anything anyways. Or they're going to say, actually, you know, I can make tomorrow, I can move some stuff around, in which case that's a good sign. Remember, you always have to maintain control and power and leadership in this relationship. The reality is like you're the prize. Like you are what they need to achieve the results they want to achieve, right? If they didn't, they'd already be where they want to be, but they don't have that. So they don't know how to get there. So you do not bend to their will. They play by your rules or they don't play at all. So if we send someone an email saying like, hey, I honestly, my next week is completely slammed. Why don't we push this out a couple months? And they're like, sure, awesome. Like you can get them on the calendar or you can just say goodbye because those types of people are not ready now. Or if they're like, cool, let's connect tomorrow. Perfect. I sent you a calendar invite, accept it, and we're on. You have to take leadership at all times. At all times. So those are the 7 big warning signs that we've noticed that prospects who seemingly look like they're interested in working with you are actually lying to you. So the final thing I want to leave you with is how do you bring up the elephant in the room, which is all of this stuff. So they're on the call with you, but they haven't left their last name, or they are busy, like they're moving around, they're on their phone, they're doing stuff in the kitchen while you're speaking with them. Or they're using the word definitely and giving you a lot of false yeses throughout the conversation. Here's what you do. You bring to surface the elephant in the room. And here's how you do this. As an example, you just pause and you say, Mr. Prospect, can I be honest with you for a moment? And they're going to say, yeah, sure, awesome. And what that does, it opens up the door to being honest. It seems like you're a little bit distracted, or again, I'm using the example of a distraction here, or a camera turned off, or whatever it is. I'm just not getting the sense that this is really that important to you. Am I completely off base here? And they're going to say, no, like I really am. Oh, okay. I mean, again, just from my experience, usually when I'm talking to people who are super committed and serious about this problem, they're usually sat down in front of their computer taking notes. And right now you're washing dishes. And I just want to make sure that we're not wasting each other's time. Okay, so now I've brought the thing to surface. What about someone who's giving you lots of yeses, a lot of false positives for the conversation? You have to, it's not about necessarily calling all of this stuff out, but you have to recognize, like if someone leaves no last name on their application, you're not going to say, well, I noticed you didn't leave a last name on your application. Talk to me about that. There's certain things you just have to understand are going to be a little bit of an issue that you want to address in maybe a little bit of a different fashion. So if you know these 7 warning signs are flagpoles, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but they are signs of someone who's not really committed, you have to challenge their commitments in the call. Okay, so you've built a little bit of rapport, you've got them to feel a bit safe and open up, and then you start using challenging questions and commitment questions. So let me just play devil's advocate for a second. why don't you do what a lot of people do who struggle with insert what you help people with and just push this down the road and get to it later? So what I'm doing here is I'm pushing them away and I'm saying, why don't you just do this later? Or if, as they're talking to you, they're talking about the stuff that they've done, they're working with someone else, or they're doing a bunch of stuff. It sounds like you have a lot of this stuff in place already. So what makes you think that's not enough though? Or why don't you just keep doing more of that? Or why don't you just keep working with so-and-so? So what we're doing here is we're just pushing them away. All of the objections you'll deal with later in the call or in that nice email afterwards around decided to go a different direction, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Well, you just bring that stuff up, you front load it in the earlier part of the conversation. And so when you get these warning signs that people that are just like, you're not getting it, it's just like you can sense the vibe. You got to bring this stuff up, because if you don't verbalize it, it will bite you in the ass. And you're going to waste your time, and you're going to get these fucking emails afterwards, and you're going to get so frustrated. And my encouragement to you is that you have the balls to simply have an honest conversation with people. And the most important thing in this whole process is to understand the difference between what people say and what they mean. So when someone's like, yeah, totally, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, awesome. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this is everything you've been looking for, 0 is why am I still on the phone? Person's like, I'm an 8. Cool, what would make it a 10? Well, don't worry about what they say. It's how they say it. You have to get a feel for how bought in this person is. Because price is irrelevant if they're not sold on your solution. If they're not sold on the pain of their current situation. If someone comes to me, and I get this quite a bit. So we'll run ads and we'll share some of our clients' numbers. So-and-so came to us because she was stuck at $20K a month. And a lot of people are like, wow, it must be nice to be stuck at $20K a month. Other people are like, isn't that enough? No, it's not enough. Not for a lot of people, but if you've got low standards, maybe it is for you. So in a conversation, if someone came into a call with me and said, things are pretty good, making $20K a month. And I would be like, can I just, how do you survive on $20K a month? Well, it's pretty good. Really? Is it? And I would just drill deep into what's your take home. Do you have a mortgage? Do you have car payments? Do you have stuff set aside for your kids, for your loved ones, for other things you want to do? $20K is not a lot of money in today's day and age. If someone comes in, and we've actually had conversations like this before, where it's like, hey, yeah, we're doing great. We're doing $1 million a month. Awesome. Why are we talking? Well, awesome. So on $1 million a month, what's your profit on that? I don't care what people are telling me. There's always a problem. There's always an angle to play. If someone gives you a problem, you give them the bigger problem. Someone's like, we're doing well. We're at $1 million a month. I'm like, that's it? We have quite a few conversations with health experts who self-proclaim to be the best at what they do, and they're barely making any money. So I might say something like, how does it feel to be the best at what you do and make so little? It's not okay to be where you are, right? And if people think that their current situation is okay, they're never changing. And so they're going to give you all these nice, yeah, this sounds great, get to the end of the call and you think about it. And then they think about it and they're like, pain of current situation, things are not that bad. I'm making $4,000 a month. It's okay. Or I'm only 70 pounds overweight, but if I was 150 pounds overweight, it'd be a shit show. You have to help people see that the current situation they're in is not okay. That's what I love about coaching. It's about holding people to a higher standard. I don't care if you're making $1 million a month. I get people reaching out to me on Instagram and be like, hey man, I can definitely guarantee you an extra $500 a day. Now, if I responded to those people, which I don't, I'd be like, is that it? I wouldn't get out of bed for $500 a day, right? Don't 18-year-old come to me and say, I can help add $500 a day to your business without understanding the context of our business, okay? So when people come to you, understand they're coming to you because they're in a certain degree of pain. Whether that degree of pain is enough for them to do something about is a different story. Your job is to assess whether or not they're telling you the full deal or they're just kind of pretending for things to be okay, and dig deeper. Help them feel safe so they can open up, and have the courage to challenge them so they understand that the current situation they're in is not okay. Why are you tolerating being 100 pounds overweight? Do you think that's a good example to model your kids? what do you think they're going to see growing up? Do you think they're going to become these beautiful models of health and fitness, seeing what you're doing and how you're living? And I know these are hard things to share with people and ask people and tell people, but the truth will set you free. So those are the seven warning signs prospects could be lying to you. I share this with you because, again, we've had thousands of conversations with people who are like, yeah, like definitely I'm in, like I just need a day to think about it. Last year alone, the last 12 months, we lost $4.8 million with potential new clients who said, this is exactly what I'm looking for on the call, playing the nice person, people pleasing, and ended up not moving forward. Again, maybe they didn't see the value. I understand that part, okay? But nonetheless, when we look at how we're tracking prospects moving through our sales pipeline, when people are like, I'm a 10 out of 10 or I'm a 9.9 out of 10, I just need a day to figure some stuff out. You have to a certain degree assume that they're kind of in, but then you see stuff like this and you see these patterns and you realize that a lot of people are just trying to be nice. So it's not about being an asshole, it's about being honest. And just be wary of people who are overly nice, giving you a lot of the false yeses, because a lot of false yeses are closer to no's than they are to someone actually doing something with your help. Have you ever had anyone say to you, I need to think about it, it's too expensive, I need to run this by my wife, let me get some stuff in order before I move forward, and I'm just not sure this is gonna work? If you've had any of those objections come up on any of your sales calls, this video is for you. This will be the most useful, tactical, and implementable sales training you have ever seen. So stick with me and let's dive into this.